Welcome back, everyone, to Real Estate Unlimited. And today's topic will be the due diligence of a buyer's agent, not the due diligence period for the client, but the due diligence for the buyer's agent. We're going to have some great guests on today. But first, the countdown. And welcome back to the show, everyone. So we have great guests, like I said before. Renee, welcome back. We're glad to have you. James. Oh, are we on mute?
I don't know. Can you hear me? You got me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Hello, Paul.
All right. So today.
Hello again, Renee.
All right, guys.
Hey, Paul. Hey, James.
Hello, Paul. Right. So today, I'm posting the link to the show for those who need it. Okay. All right, now. Okay, well, that's not working at all. Okay. All right, we'll just jump right into it. Renee, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about
Doing
you, James?
doing pretty well, but I must say it is rough out here in these streets, and it is not for the faint of heart.
Absolutely, it is not. It's tough to be a real estate agent right now.
Particularly a buyer's agent.
That is correct.
And today we're going to talk about buyer agent due diligence. What does a buyer's agent need to do and what they should be aware of? I'm posting the link I'm posting the link to the show on the Facebook account right now. That way people could just hop on and join us if they would like. All right. Okay. So, as we know, we represent both sides. We do buyers agents and we do sellers. And I think that a lot of buyer agents out there just do not know what to do, or they just don't have, I don't want to say they're not skilled, but they're still learning. They're becoming seasoned in this market with everyone. So I think it's this podcast is directly to them. What should you do as a buyer agent? And I want you guys to chime in. Hopefully we'll get a couple more guests on soon. But getting the first step, correct me wrong, and I've got on here, get your agreements signed. Get your ducks in a row. Get the brochure signed. Get the buyer's agency agreement signed. Do you guys, what are your thoughts on that?
Go ahead, James. You go first.
You might be not. The connection might.
I
not
didn't
be
even
too
hear
strong.
the question because you're kind of going in and out of me.
Got you. So the first thing I have down for
What was the question again?
The question is, well, it's more of a statement. In your opinion, the first step for due diligence of a buyer's agent is getting your agreement signed, getting your buyer's agency exclusive buyer agency signed, getting the working with real estate agent brochure, asking the right questions. Would you agree to that, James?
Yeah, I don't think James can hear. So I have a little to add on the buyer agency. And sometimes you find some clients that are apprehensive of signing a contract. And I think that falls on the agent to explain it to them what it means. Typically, of course, we do the working with real estate agents brochure. We make them sign that or at least show it to them. I typically do buyer agency agreements. In the past, I would, especially if I know them, I wouldn't until we made an offer. But now with the market the way it is, if they're not willing to commit to me and I have so many buyers, I can't drop everything I'm doing. And that's what you have to do in this market today. When a house comes on the market, you have to go look at it or it'll be gone within 24 to 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you're going to be lucky if
Yeah.
you can even get an appointment to even get in to see the house because there are that many buyers. So,
Right.
I'm not going to do that, unless they commit to me. The days of going, I get people to call me and they're not pre-approved. And I just tell them there's no point in us going to look at a house without your pre-approval in place because that house is going to be under contract before you even get your pre-approval.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
so
not
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the sellers don't want people going through their house and, especially if it's occupied and living there, and they don't want people going through their house that, it's not even capable of buying the house, doesn't even have their pre-approval yet or their funding in place.
Right.
So you would say it's important for a buyer when they get their agreement signed to do an interview, a thorough interview with the client, seeing and listening, if you guys will, listening to the client to see what the client actually wants and what they need, and then connecting with the lender to make sure that can be done, that they are approved and not pre-qualified, because there is a difference. And also then be the bloodhound and start to search.
Yeah.
And I also feel like in that interview with clients, because I have first-time buyers that come to me, and people are probably going to chop me up for saying this, but it's okay. But I would rather be honest with the client. They come to me and I say, well, how much do you have in savings? Well, maybe 1,000. Well, what we need to do is we need to work on your savings and build up your savings. It's not your time to buy until you have enough money, because sellers are not paying closing costs, and you have to have the due diligence. You have to have your 3 months reserved for the lender to close, et cetera, et cetera. So I think you have to educate the buyers too on that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you can't go out there and just show them homes. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I want you to finish.
Yeah, what I was going to say is you can't just go out there. So I think some of these agents don't do enough investigation with their client, and they go out there and show them homes, and they find the house they fall in love with and they want to make an offer, and then they dive into, well, how much due diligence do you want to put down? They're like, well, we ain't got but this much money, and then they're heartbroken because that agent has to have that hard conversation and say, well, we can put it in like 500 due diligence, but it's multiple offers. You know what I'm saying? It's just not good for your client. You have to educate your client too a little bit on how this market is. And a lot of times, I don't know about y'all, but you do get those buyers that have to lose one or two, that they won't listen to you and do what you tell them they need to do to get the house. And then they have to lose one or two or three or four. And then finally they throw everything at it. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah. When I first started out in doing this, there was one particular guy I knew, known him for a long time. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I was really eager, gung-ho and everything. And he wanted to look at houses. I said, okay, fine. So I went through the working with real estate agents disclosure with him. And that was it. We started looking at houses. We must have looked at 7 houses in one day. And the next day we looked at another 5 houses. After that, we looked at another 5 houses. And I realized that this agency agreement was starting to deteriorate. And it really wasn't his fault. It was my fault. So I told him, look, let me do what I need to do. First of all, let's start at square one, square two. Let's get you pre-approved, because he wasn't even pre-approved. So he said, so he kept dragging his feet about it.
Yeah, there's no point. Yeah.
Yep. And so he happened to be a barber.
I mean, oh, 1099.
Yeah, he happened to be a barber, So I went into his barber shop and I went directly to his chair and sat in it. Now that's a big no-no in barbershops. You don't just go directly to a chair and sit in it. You sit in one of the chairs against the wall. So I went and sat in his chair and he said, James, you want a haircut from me? And I'm like, no, I just want to sit here. And he started laughing. The other barbers looked up and started laughing. And he said, well, I can't cut hair if you're sitting in my seat. I said, exactly. You've been sitting in my seat for the last 3 weeks. I can't sell a house if you're sitting in my seat and you don't want to do things by the book. He got it then.
That's awesome, James.
Yeah, that's great.
Hello.
Hey, Evelyn.
How are you, James? Hey, Paul.
Good.
And
Welcome,
Renee.
Evelyn.
Hey.
But I think we need to educate these buyer agent educates, like Renee was saying, educates their buyers. You know, buyers think they can just buyers think it's the wild, wild west, and they can just do whatever they want to. But the buyer agency agreement, it does outline their duties also.
And I want to hit that.
It itemizes what they are responsible for doing. And one of them is that they have to make themselves available.
Absolutely. I want to hit on that note you just brought up because we talked about this backstage. What I want you to tell the story, Renee, if you will, about the agent that was at the beach and their client called you to show the house, because I think that as professionals in this business, and we have our buyer clients in this business, we need to let our clients know when we're not available and have another agent on hand to show them. Listen what happened. This is really good.
Yeah, and this happens quite a if you're on phone duty for working agent
Well,
and agents on vacation.
Renee, we're losing you there. I don't know if she can hear me. Hold on. Let me text her real quick. But just for people to know, what happened is that Renee was got a call from a buyer client, not her client, someone else's client, and they asked to see the property. And she said, so she started interviewing them. Have you been looking for homes? Are you currently working with an agent? And they said, we do have an agent. She's on vacation at the beach. Could you show us this property? And as a realtor, once you signed on, when a client signed on with someone, that's who they need to be working with. So she just advised them that you need to call your agent and let them know you want to see this property and get her to get someone to open the door for you. I can't just start opening the door for you and start servicing you. You know,
Right.
An open house is an exception, but other than that, no.
And I think when it comes to a scenario like that, agents who do capitulate, they break down and say, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll open it up for you. Now that agent, who is the agent representing that buyer, they don't even know what's going on. And it kind of blurs the lines in the eyes of the buyer because they think it's perfectly fine. So it's not a matter of being nasty or belligerent or anything like that. It's just educating the buyer. Hey, you need to check in with your agent, the person who's representing you.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to get someone they trust and know, whether they're in the same agency or not, to open up this house for you and show it to you. And you can't just go out there, and do what you want to do. Because
Absolutely.
we're an agency agreement. You can't just go out there Lone Ranger style by yourself and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have fiduciary duties to our clients, but they also have fiduciary duties to us as well in that agreement.
And I'm going to read these verbatim.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
No, please do.
Buyer's duties. Buyer, and this is an exclusive buyer agency agreement, but it's buyer's duties. Buyer agrees to cooperate with firm in the acquisition of real property of the type described in paragraph 1, including but not limited to A, working exclusively with firm during the term of this agreement. So don't be calling another agent. Check with your buyer agent. Okay? Don't go messing around playing pity pat with somebody else.
I love it, James. Just let him have it, baby.
It's not an open marriage.
No.
All right? We ain't doing it, Will Smith. We're not doing it Willie Smith and Jada Pinkett style. We ain't having it on here. Okay?
I'll crack him open a V8 on that one.
B. Immediately referring to the firm information about any properties the buyer may have an interest in examining. So if you like a property, let us know. Okay? Text, call, email. There's an old song. You can reach me on an airplane. You can reach me by a submarine, whatever. I don't care how you get there, but get there if you can. Okay? C, complying with the reasonable request of the firm to supply any pertinent financial or personal data needed to fulfill the terms of this agreement. If you're not pre-approved, you need to get pre-approved. If you think you need more money, call up your lender and ask your lender for an escalated amount of more money. Do what you need to do. Okay?
Real important.
That's just an example.
Yeah, and find out what your monthly payments is. And that's why I'm glad Evelyn's on here, because she is a lender. And all you listening today, if you need a fantastic lender, you need to call Evelyn, because she is fantastic and she's a lender. Look at that. Do you got your flan with you today?
No, actually, I had my pineapple piña. I do have a flan in the refrigerator, though. I was gonna eat it, but I'm like, nah. I'm always eating flan on here. So.
It's Cinco de Mayo. What is up with that?
Yeah, but I was just listening to James when I hopped on, guys, and you know, one of the things that I've seen, I'm laughing because I've seen it a lot. I've had, James, believe it or not, a lot of clients are working, of course, you know, with their buyer, you know, buyer's agent, realtor, right? And they're like, oh, you know, we can't find a house and we want to know if we have to stick to the same real estate agent. You know, it's like, well, they all have access to the same MLS system. So, I mean, what is the problem? I mean, they're going to look at the same houses that are available in the market. Is the same houses as the other, you know, the other real estate agent is going to give to them as well, because they have this system where they all could look at it, right? So, so I had a particular, this particular client called me last night. He was working, he actually left this agent and he went with another agent that does more of a commercial side. And then last night he's like, hey, give me the name of that realtor you were talking about, because this is not working out. So you see, a lot of clients are not loyal, of course. You know, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go with whoever can find me a house, you know. And the thing is that the market's the same thing everywhere, whoever you work with. So I know that there's the differences. Sometimes you might have a little bit more connections with a certain listing agent than others, you know, that might make a difference. But as far as having the same access to what's in the market, all you guys have that same access. So I was just laughing at that when, you know, when you were saying that, James, because it's true. You know, there's basically a lot of agents with the first showing, they just have them sign that agreement, you know, buyer's agreement, because I've seen it a lot. A lot of them is like, oh no, I'm going to go with another agent or work with two agents at the same time. So I think that's not cool.
No way. There needs to be good communication.
If you want to work with another agent, then go ahead. I'm a jealous agent, and I don't play that. So,
yeah, there you go.
I mean, others fight like that to get in bed with
James. Are you a Leo? Agent. Are you a Leo, James?
I'm a freaking Leo all day long. I sure.
You're a Leo. That's why you're. That's why I'm the same way.
July 31st. That's right.
You're July 31st, James.
Yep.
I'm July 30th.
I'm August 19th, so we all Leos.
Oh God!
Yep. I don't play that mess.
I knew it. You see, when you said that, I'm not sharing. I'm not. That's me. So you're a Leo. You see, I was able to detect that.
Oh my God!
You better go on with that mess. I don't do that.
No.
Nope.
That's right.
Well, D. Being available for reasonable periods of time to examine the property. I think that's a big one. It's an obvious one, but a lot of buyers won't do that. Oh, my dog got sick. Well, your dog gonna still be sick. So, put them in a kennel, and let's get out here and look at this house. All right. Oh, my daughter, I got to go pick up my daughter. Well, bring her on. Put her in the back seat. Bring her.
And that will protect us
Yeah.
to say that, well, you didn't show it to me in time.
Yeah.
They have a right. They have an obligation or a duty, let's say that, to be available when these come on, because your job is a bloodhound. You're searching for these properties.
Yeah.
You find it, you need to get on it.
Yeah.
And part of the due diligence of being a buyer's agent is listening to the client and finding what they want and showing it to them. Yeah. And then seeing if there's any material facts or any questions that you need to communicate. Right. Again, communicate to the listing agreement, to the listing agent, and connecting with your lender. Because what if it's an FHA? They're going FHA and there's a busted window. Don't you think, and they're not sure, don't you think they should call you, Evelyn? What if there's what if it's a suite on the back of the house? There's an in-law suite in the back of the house. FHAs won't cover that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've actually had that before. It depends. Sometimes it would need to be conventional, especially if there's 2 meters. I had 3 years ago, I had a case like that they had actually built a in-law suite in the back, and it had 2 meters, but the same water, they shared the same water. So it was kind of complicated. So we ended up going Fannie Mae with that one. So there's things, that, and right now, too, another thing to consider that I must advise to all buyers out there is if you were pre-qualified a month ago, usually your pre-qualification or your credit would expire like 120 days. You're good to go. After 120 days, you have to realize that there's things that might change. So you always got to keep up with your credit. Make sure your balances on your credit card are low, at least 30% under. And also another thing, you got to call your lender, call your lender, whoever you're working with, because you probably qualify for like say 280 and now it might be 260 because why? The rates are up. There's 50 basis points that went up. The Feds talked about it last night. And rates are going up, up to 6% right now, conventional.
Yeah, 5.5 is when I checked it yesterday.
That's FHA, and it's going to depend on the credit score. But like if you qualify for a certain amount 3 months ago, check with your lender because you might be out there wasting time, and you might not qualify for that amount anymore, unless they gave you a max amount and you know that it surpasses that. That's fine, but I would always keep that in mind, guys. Rates are changing; they have changed, and you want to make sure that you're still pre-qualified for that same amount.
Evelyn, can you just, I'm cutting you off here. Can you just adjust your camera just a little bit down? Because I see numbers.
This way?
Captions covering
like
lower
this,
face.
Like this.
Yeah.
Like this?
Because I see numbers. I don't see you talking. I just see
really?
numbers.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No.
Now we can see your beautiful face.
Thank you, James. You're so sweet.
that's the spot.
But I would like to dovetail onto what Evelyn said and advise your buyers. This should be elementary, but it ain't. Advise your buyers along with that. Don't buy anything big ticket. There's a clip of Goodfellas after they make the big bank heist and they have this Christmas party, and you got all the guys who were in on the heist. They're buying mink coats for their wives and pink Cadillacs. I don't know if y'all can hear this. I queued it up. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Anyway, well.
Hold it a little bit up higher, James.
Okay.
It's a wedding gift. It's from my mother. It's under her name. I just got mad. Excuse me, darling, for just a second. I just got mad, Johnny. Are you nuts? What are you getting excited for, Jimmy? What am I getting excited for? You stupid, you got a million fucking fools out there. Everybody's watching us. You get a fucking car. They're telling me I'm excited. My mother's name. It's a wedding gift. I don't give a fuck whose name it's on. Are you stupid or what? Did you hear what I said? Don't buy anything, don't get anything, nothing big. Did you hear what I said? What's the matter with you? What are you getting excited for? Am I getting excited? You're gonna get us all fucking pinched, that's why. What are you, stupid?
Pardon the language.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
And that's a good point. That's a good point, because if they start going out and buying things, it's going to affect their credit, and it will change if the buyer starts to buy things. They will not be able to get the loan.
That's
Evelyn, I
true.
know you've seen that a lot. Furniture, I think furniture is the biggest one. They'll go buy furniture for the property.
Anything, baby. Don't.
Yeah, I have a client right now that actually bought all
But that's
his
the
furniture
biggest
new
thing.
construction.
In the,
James, I just
they'll
lost you there.
try to buy flooring for. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I had a client who tried to buy flooring for the house that we were under contract for, and I had to stop them. But James, it's for the house. Didn't I tell you not to buy anything? Didn't I specifically say don't buy anything? Oh, well, I thought you meant like a motorcycle or a boat. I told you not to buy anything, didn't I? I said don't buy anything. Don't buy anything big.
That
want the
always
backhand
happens. You
him.
know, get into a vehicle, auto loan.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
buyer's
So
agent's due diligence.
don't
Go
buy
ahead.
anything. So that, yeah.
A buyer's agent's due diligence for you
No,
as a
go ahead,
lender. What do you like to see from a buyer's agent, Evelyn? I know we talked a little about this in the pre-show before, because it's is it page 13 or 15 that?
Oh, no, usually that the contract, on page 15 be fully executed at the time. If you could get all the seller buyers. Sometimes I see a lot missing and we have to chase you guys to, hey, where's page 15 of the contract? Do you have it yet? It's not a big deal. We do need it for closing, of course, by the time we close. Just basically this is a teamwork. If you choose me as a lender and you're the buyer's agent and the actually the buyer, the listed, we all have a part to play in this. And I think if we all do our job, you guys as a buyer's agent, listing agent, whatever you guys are doing, I think if we all do our part, I think we're going to have a smooth closing. Everybody provides what needs to be provided, especially the buyers. You guys could help out by telling buyers things like that, to remind them, hey, don't buy anything during the process, any credit cards. We always tell them that. We put it in writing sometimes, big red letters, and some emails. I've known some guys in our companies that has it on their email, and it says at the bottom, do not do this during the process. And a lot of buyers know that, but they tend to forget. They go shopping. Oh, you're pre-approved for this type of credit card, an Apple, credit card. You can buy this kind of laptop today. It's all going to mess up your card because we're going to do a soft pull. And, it's going to show up. So you're either going to have to return it, pay it off, do something with it. I know I had like 3 years ago. I remember it was actually an NC housing loan too. She was getting down payment assistance and she bought all this furniture and she didn't qualify after. So she had to return it. We had to verify, that she actually returned the furniture, a receipt of everything. So my advice is to always remind your clients. I'll do my part, make sure we got all the documentation. Believe me, I chase them down. We want to close in 30 days or less. We need everything we could get, So usually the files I send in, there's not a lot of conditions because I try to get as much as possible. Once I read what's on their credit report, I kind of know what processing the underwriter is going to ask for. So I try to put as much as I can on my part in there and then just ask the borrower for their part. Hey, we need these 3 conditions met. And then of course, if you guys have to fully execute that page 15, that's things on your end. So if we all work as a team, it's going to be really a smooth closing for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, how important is it in your sense that the buyer's agent keeps up with all the inspections of the property, and if they see that they need to make recommend inspections?
that's really
Mi esposa, para eso tenés celular. Para no agarrar la llamada.
Sorry, guys.
that's okay. I think that when you get to that point, inspection period, the forward progress of the transaction hinges on that inspection. Because if, as a buyer agent, if you're dropping the ball on that and you're letting even days drift by without checking up, hey, where's the inspection? Hey, let's go over the inspection to see what's going on with here to see if it's going to still be approved. If the lender finds out about these things that need to be done, time really needs to be, we're in a time crunch. And so I think it's really crucial that the buyer agent be on top of that inspection. I think it's crucial. I think it's
Absolutely. And you
I-
think it's just as important to connect with the listing agent to find out as much information as possible that is
Absolutely.
important to the buyer. Where are the property lines? Has the septic been inspected? How old's the
Yes.
septic? Do you have the permit on hand? Also connect with the county,
right.
but connect with that. I think these are very important steps that buyers agents should happen, because what will happen is, and I've done it myself, learning from my own mistakes.
Mhm.
You put the house under contract, you think about the inspections. Oh, I'll get to it, or I'll ask about it, and you forget. And then before you know it, you got 5 days left before due diligence ends.
No inspection.
And the buyer doesn't know. You're the professional, not the buyer.
Mhm.
And it
Exactly.
falls on you. And now you got to answer to that. I've been there. It's not a fun place to be. I'll tell you that,
No, it's not.
And so I think that's very important as a buyer's agent. And those who are listening, this is really directed to agents who are representing buyers to become more seasoned and what to keep up with. I think now we're going to go into tools. I have a set of tools. I'm interested to know what type of tools you guys use. Evelyn, I don't know if you use any tools in the lending world, but James, do you use any tools with
Like physical tools or like the mechanics? Or are you talking about like more like non-physical tools? Like
up to apps and physical
okay.
tools?
Well, I think I mentioned this before in a previous podcast discussion of ours. I use a laser measure. It's accurate and it's quick. And when I go in and when I'm previewing, my time is very valuable. While my clients are at work, I got to measure these walls to make sure that they reflect what's in the listing, the multiple listing service sheet. Another I use is a flashlight. I mean, a phone is fine, but I'm not trying to pull my phone out all the time and then risk dropping it. Plus, a flashlight gives a larger beam. It's great when you go into those large houses. It's great when you go into those excavated basements that are earth, so you can see clearly,
Yeah.
So I like, and especially if your buyers have like if they're not always available in daylight. And I know we're in the summer months now and the daylights are longer, but when you go in there in the fall and in the winter and early spring and they get off at 5:30, 5 o'clock, and by the time you get out to look at houses, it's dark, and then you come across that one house that doesn't have any electricity. So, you need a flash. Yeah, you need a flash. Yeah. So those are a couple of tools that I use. Measuring, laser measures, flashlights. I got a golf ball I'll keep like in my trunk, in my kit. So if I'm going into an older house, I can just drop the golf ball and see if it rolls. If it rolls, it's not level, the floor is
I'm writing that down. I didn't know
level.
that one, James.
I also have like one of those short levelers that's like 14 inches long.
Yeah.
So you don't need like a yard long level, just a short level. And if that bubble's not in the middle, it ain't level, So get yourself a level or a golf ball. Those are some of the mechanical tools that I use.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Good tools to have. I enjoy carrying a moisture meter, James.
Mhm.
The laser one, I do have I got my tools. Actually, I got my bag right here. I keep in my trunk.
Right.
And You know, a mallet. You might want to keep one of
Got
these for your
that.
sons. Yeah.
Got that. Yep.
I keep blue tape on hand all the time. Blue tape that way. Whenever when I go back for the DDR, I blue tape it, and then I write 4.5 on the inspection report.
Yep.
So when I call the listing agent, I was like, "This is what we're asking for." I blue taped it, and I've got it on there 4.5. So you can go over there with the seller with the inspection report in hand and see exactly what we would like done.
Yep. Final walkthrough too. So
Final walkthrough is important.
Yep,
Oh yeah.
tape. Yep. But yeah, the funny thing about the rubber mallet, I was talking to a person that I know, family member, in-law. They just got their real estate license in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and she said to me, we were talking about putting up yard signs, and she said she got another guy in the office to put up a yard sign, one of the big rail ones, the posts. And I'm like, so you got somebody to put up a yard sign for you? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, don't you know ain't nothing in this life free? He's going to be expecting something. And I'm like, why don't you put up your own yard sign? That's lazy. And she actually got offended at me. I'm like, you need to learn to put up your own yard signs, do this stuff for yourself, learn to do it for yourself, but it just made me kind of think about that anecdote, that story when you brought up the rubber mallet. Keep a rubber mallet.
Yeah, rubber mallet's important.
Other tools are too. If you don't, it's rough out here in these streets. If you don't carry like a partner with you, you know what I mean? A partner.
Oh.
Your hardware, your side piece, at least carry some mace or pepper spray.
Yeah, for protection purposes, absolutely.
Even if it's for a dog, a dog that got loose in the neighborhood. I cannot tell you how many times in the city where a Rottweiler or a pit bull, I don't care how friendly they are, will get loose and has approached me. And I've had to yell at the neighbor across the street, the city has a leash law. Put your dog up. I've had to tell them that.
Yeah.
So
I keep this with me because I've had dogs come after me.
Yeah.
And this is just an extension of the hand to keep them back so I can get back. He's like, whoa, easy there, Fredo. You better just chill out. Go gnaw on your bones.
So
yeah,
do that.
I got zip ties for the enemies, just
you got to keep safe out there.
Yeah. But I do think this is a good little tool to have too. And this will tell you if it's wired, if the house is grounded, if it's reverse polarity. And then when you push the button, if there's a GFCI trip, it'll trip the breaker. And that way you can know if there's one in there for safety reasons, and you just hold it and it'll trip it. And I got this from my home inspector. You want to get a home inspector that can also teach you these things. A moisture meter. This has really helped out a lot. The sucker right here. Oh, the roof looks like it's leaking. Oh my God, the roof's leaking. Well, let's test it to see if it's a current leak or is it just been leaking. Yes, they just didn't fix it, and obviously we're not inspectors, we're not home inspectors, but these are just sites that we see to educate and skills that we have to educate our buyers.
Absolutely.
So these are things I keep. One thing I will recommend, I know we talked about this behind the scenes, James, is this app right here called Land Glide. This app right here is fantastic. It shows you your location, and it'll show you the property lines. And that's a question I get asked a lot as a realtor. Where are the property lines on this property? And it has a GPS on there. It shows you where you're at. You're walking. It shows the tax card, the parcel ID. It'll show you who your neighbors are. Who's the neighbor? Is the neighbor looking to sell? You've got the neighbor's information that you can reach out to. Or is there an easement on this road? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out the neighbor, and we can pull the record at the Board of Deeds. So these are, I think, good things to have as a buyer's agent. These are the due diligence of a buyer's agent, to not the due diligence of the client, of course, but as the buyer's agent. And that's what this whole talks about. Reporting with your lender weekly, wouldn't you say? And if I'm representing a buyer, Evelyn, and they're working with you, wouldn't you want me to report with you weekly and be like, hey, Evelyn, how are they doing? Any updates?
Well, it depends. Everybody's different. You can just to see what's going on. I'm accustomed to, if I'm working, of course, with a real estate agent, I always keep a weekly updates. Hey, the appraisal was ordered, everything's in process, everything's good. Especially with the buyer, if you don't hear from me today, I at least try to keep in contact, send a text message and say, hey, we're still the appraisal is still pending or it's still in process. I haven't heard anything new. Everything looks good so far. Things like that. So I think as a lender, you should be very, communicative, I guess, with the buyer's agent, the buyer. Just keep them on the loop of what's going on. And I usually won't contact you guys unless I really need you. If an appraisal came low, you're definitely going to hear from me. Hey guys, the appraisal is low. What you guys want to do? You want to negotiate that with the seller? And also, I want to go back before you started talking about the tools. So you want to check with your lender. And in our case here at Mortgage Financial Group, we do not look at inspections. We don't look at the inspection report. So if you're working with me, do not include it. If for some reason the attorney has it, you gave it to the attorney and they include it in the closing document, the closing disclosure, and it's on there. If we see it, then we're going to have to ask you about it. And I had one recently that said something about a termite treatment. And I'm like, oh, so the underwriter's like, okay, there was a termite treatment. Is everything okay? So we had to get information on it. But as long as we don't see it, that's paid outside of closing. We don't care about that. If there's any issues with the property, okay, that you're showing or selling, the appraisal is going to be on the appraisal. Okay. If not, it's going to be as is. If it's as is, that's all we care about. But if you go ahead and include something else in there that it's structure or anything, believe me, the underwriter is going to be like, okay, termites. What was this treatment for? What happened? Is it severe? Is it something that you're able to, get corrected, whatever. So, just be careful. Just check with the lender you're working with. But I know in our case, in my case, we don't want to see the inspections. That's something that's up to the client. And we do suggest that you do an inspection. You want to make sure everything's good with we actually going to say that to the buyer, but that's something the real estate agent will talk about with your clients. So, but yeah, just for you to know that.
Awesome. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up this segment.
Yeah.
Evelyn, if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Yep. You could contact me at 336-912-0332, or you could email me as well at evelynolivares@mfglens.com and send me any questions. Or you could go to my website as well. Just go to www.mfglens.com and then /eolivares, and you could apply there online as well.
Awesome.
And I'll be giving you guys a call.
Awesome. Yep, that's great. And thank you, Evelyn, and for your insight. James, how about yourself, buddy?
I can be reached at 336-978-8491. Again, 336-978-8491. Or you can reach me on my Instagram account. I am James Franklin. All lowercase, no gaps.
There you go.
Fantastic. And guys, that you guys listening in here, you can reach me at 336-963-3684. Social media account is Paul NC Realtor. And just DM me, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you, connect you with any one of these great people if you have any questions that can participate to this. And with that said, I am wishing you guys a fantastic day. Thank you for coming in. One last thing I wanted to just bring up is pretty awesome. So we got 1,300 homes on the market. There's 94 new listings today and 54 pending. Again, the new listings is overtaking the pending, this is new. It was the other way around for a long time. And I've not seen 1,300 homes in a while. Let's get it back to where we wanted it to be. We need to get back up to 5,000 to 7,000 on the market and get these realtors back down to 3,000, 3,500 realtors. That's my personal opinion. I'm being biased, of course. So, well, guys, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. Have a great one, guys.
You too. See you next time.
Okay.